Hi and welcome everybody. Today is a new day, it's a new night, and we're gonna have conversations about change again here live on Facebook. Yay! I love the topic because I see so many people changing their lives, and I also am honored being able to have had years together with people changing their lives. And tonight, now, get to talk with Mr. Merlijn, or we'll see who joins because you never know with him. He changes and shapeshifts us in seconds or in an hour. So who will it be?
Is it working? Is it working?
Yes!
Yes, we are.
Yes!
Oh my God. I am outside in glorious Rotterdam. Look at it. I'm exploring the world
Beautiful!
today. It's sunset. Hey, Miss
I
Lisen.
love it! Hello, Mr. Merlijn! I was just saying, I do not know exactly who I'm going to talk to today.
You're gonna speak with me today.
I love it.
Yes, curly old me, curly old me.
Curly blonde, handsome
I
guy.
know, right? Ooh.
It's a little bit.
I know. I mean, the lines are blurring, things are becoming more fluid. What can I say? What can I say? People are exploring more parts and pieces of themselves, of their lives, who else they can be, and it's all about the change and the transformation. So
Yes, it's all about the transformation in so many ways.
I know, right?
How many years have we known? Because you posted, I just saw a picture, 2012. I was like, oh my God.
I know, totally. We met in the summer of 2012, and that was in Amsterdam during Dane's first evening in Amsterdam.
Oh God.
So where I got the honors to be on the table, and where you asked me to if I would host and co-create with you, and then
Do you remember you were on the table with Dane here, and I was on the table with Dane here?
Exactly, we were both on the table. We were both receiving and contributing to the whole class. That was like super cool. That evening changed my life entirely, as so many things have done. But that was like quite a quintessential part of what got a lot of things started for me in terms of choosing more consciousness, creating more, and as well, starting, such a, big and growing energy in the Netherlands, going everywhere. So, yeah, it's.
I'm really also thank you and very grateful that you did host. I don't know how many classes.
I think it was like
But
about 6 or 7, or like like a big bunch of foundations, like a couple of other classes, and yeah, but it was such a like growing and
yeah.
like really like easily expanding energy, because there was such a craving in the people that were looking for it, and we just went with it, right?
Yeah, and some of those people I still are great friends.
Yeah.
I was just talking to yesterday to Sabine Schneider. It was her birthday yesterday.
Oh, Sabine. Yes, we gave a foundation in her studio once.
I know.
Yeah, I was a big old mess, I remember. I was like having 5 access classes, like 5 weekends back to back. I was in full on transformation and trying to be responsible for the class, but it was still a pretty kick-ass class. I'm happy. I've had my learning spurts in, you know, being a changing and like, like doing pragmatic work as well, and really a lot of
Yeah.
that, like a lot of people ask me where I have my organizational skills from, you know, and so much I owe to you,
Oh.
in giving me the tools and being like really, yeah, really, and about the details. And it actually acknowledged a big part of me where I am such, a detailed creator. I like to know what's going on. but in combination of like setting up a class and perceiving all the change, being connected to like the past, present, future, it can all get a bit confusing. So it was a really great way to strengthen my muscles and of awareness. So and as well be as practical as I can. So that was super awesome. Thank you so much. I think I wonder if I even said that. If I ever said that. But then anyway, if we're talking
I'm
about
not sure. I was like, this is cool to hear, though. I'm very grateful to hear it. Thank you so much, Merlijn.
yeah. So change.
It's a couple years ago, and you have created so much, both in Netherlands and outside of Netherlands and around the world, and also became a certified facilitator.
Yes.
At some point, starting to facilitate lots of classes.
Yes.
Which is really cool to see.
Yes. It's been quite a journey, and I have a sense it's like, oh, I recently got to a totally new space within Access, which I'm super grateful for, because I still had some sort of idea developed of everything that I could not be within Access, weirdly, just by looking at the people that show up. And I was like, I just felt I was hitting a roof. So I had to really start knowing what I know, claiming what I know that I can be and contribute, and talking about it and Wizards Arise with Dane and with everyone, receiving so much gratitude and contribution. It was like, whew, so heartwarming. Yeah, it's like a whole new launch of different possibilities. I'm so excited, and I'm so grateful for all the years so far, and not even only for all these years, for my whole life. And go when I'm choosing through my life, receiving what I couldn't receive in the past, even if it's like from years and years and years ago, still contributing to my future and to the people I get to contribute with, because I realize that is just so important for me, the world that we live in, and what does that world actually require, and what can I/we contribute to facilitate the change that the people are asking for and looking for, and mostly not even realizing that they're asking and looking for it. So it's like a muscle to recognize that that hunger through the frustration, or and all the other things that it can show up. So yeah, it's exciting.
I love one thing addressing. I mean, this might not be for everybody, because everybody is maybe not know exactly what access consciousness is listening. But one thing I wanted to bring up that you said, because you didn't feel you could be everything within access. I've seen that with quite a lot of people, and some don't go and like ask questions about that and look, what does that really mean? What am I creating here? And people also like leave access, and I was like, access isn't like, this is the form you have to be in access, or this is how you should be. But I see a lot of people do project that, or have a sense of, and I had somebody saying, oh, I don't want to be a certified facilitator, that's blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow, for me, it's like so much space to be it. But maybe when you're looking at it, it might not be. So I was like, oh, I like that you brought it up, because you really had to explore what it means for you and be everything.
Exactly. I remember that I had, why do I go to access classes? Because they make my life better, and they improve everything. When you add consciousness to whatever you're doing, it just starts working better. Maybe it might not look like it at first, because all the unconsciousness is like boom right in your face. Like if you've like come to a conclusion at some point in time about something or someone, you will notice when you start asking questions about it, or when you start maybe running some processing, or to like free the energies up, or of course an energy can be just a thought, a feeling, or an emotion, but so often it's just an energy. We don't even have words for it. So when all of it starts unraveling, it might not be as pleasant. But I started to recognize all those moments, and actually discovering more of the art of who, like just being with it and going along with it, which is so, part of everyone's life, right? And yeah, I, me too, had developed ideas about business, about who I had to be or who I was for certain people. I mean, how easy is it to just take on a costume that of what people want to see? And because I realized through time, I got seen as the kind of like this cute guy with girls talking about possibilities and consciousness and blah blah blah, yada yada yada. And at a certain point, that just got. And then I tried on the suit, try to be the guy, try to be the gentleman, and all of that. And but the thing is, those are all parts and pieces that I hadn't explored yet. So it was yet another addition, another possibility that I could add and try on and try out, literally. Because I remember then when Gary Douglas asked me, it's like, if you would be as great as you truly are, it's like, is there anything you cannot do or be? And that question kept, I was like, no, there's nothing I cannot do and be. And that just kind of like started like kind of crashing that weird hard drive, and actually started this kind of like this weird but magical fire within me that started showing everywhere I was not being everything I could be, and where I was hiding things that could contribute to the world. Like, for example, now I started including like a drag persona, Merlot, and it's so much fun because it's when I transform in that, I become more. It's like, and it's such an inspiration. Like, I cannot even like put into words what it adds to facilitate a business class, or something about money, or something about embodiment, or something about sex. It's just kind of like, so, really using a different image or a different possibility to create a different possibility. So that was all kind of like what I didn't include. But then I was like, no, I have to include this. This is what I know. So yeah, it's
from the outer world, from somebody that isn't with you when you do it. This is the fun part. If you go to a class with Merlijn, or you meet him, or you're in a class where he plays it in classes. One day he shows up like, Merlijn, and you're like, oh, the curly guy. And the next like I remember, no, it was one of the first. People like, who was that in class? I'm like,
no, that was your
so
facilitators. People didn't recognize me at all.
No, I love it because they didn't know that you did that. I was like, oh God, this is too funny.
Yeah. And people that I know well. People I know well.
Oh, really?
So yeah, people I know well, and I've known for years, and just look at me and kind of like, straight the other direction, because they probably didn't know how to handle that energy. They were like, I recognize you, but who the fuck are you? So I mean,
oh my God.
So yeah,
we should almost have a camera next to you.
I know. Should have like a little camera somewhere to.
Yes, we need that.
Film everyone's response.
Like a James Bond camera hidden somewhere. But
in my wig.
And the music coming into.
In my sunglasses.
Oh, that would work.
I know, it would be sexy even.
Like,
just seeing everyone's eyes go by.
So what I wanted to mention is very easily for people that don't know you or haven't experienced your being with you, seeing the transformation is that very easy. You think, oh, but when he has his costume on, when he's a drag queen, then he's playing a role. Then he allows himself to express. You have to almost experience Merlijn being it, because there's an authenticity that is so real. Like, you would almost like sometimes I don't perceive that you're transforming. This is a different part of you just being that, and you get to express that being that. I'm like, maybe all of us should like play with some different role and have fun with that, because we don't know what shows up. And I mean, throughout I don't know how long you've been playing with this, but it's been beautiful to see. I just like, oh my God, this is too much
fun. I know. You're like one of the cheerleaders from the beginning. When I was secretly opening the Instagram, I think you were like one of the first ones that were like, oh my God, people, she's found me. there's no way
And
back.
I don't even know how I found you, but I wasn't even looking. You showed up,
But
and
the
I was
thing
like,
is,
oh,
that
hi.
is how.
This is fun.
But that's how energy works, and that's how all
I
the
love it. Says secretly Instagram. Hello.
hello. I know, but kind of no, it's not secretly, but kind
Yeah.
of like I just
Yeah.
kind of like started. It's
A
like
step.
okay, I gotta start somewhere. What am I gonna do? What does this want to be? What is it asking for? And what I got the sense that I was more playing a role as being only a guy
Yeah.
than what I am as kind of like just adding more to it, just pulling out, actually it's all the entertainment, it's whatever I can be, it is, you
Mm.
know. And here's a little thing, and I've realized that a lot of people recognize this when I talk about this. As a kid, I had
Mm.
no idea who I was until I
Mm. It's
started
true.
doing like theater. I got a script, I got lines,
Oh.
I got something to work with to kind of like channel like some sort of energy or some sort of give direction to everything that
Mm.
I could be, because I had no clue. I was like so open, and looking back now, I was so open and so aware of my surroundings, actually kind of like still in baby mode through my, like my childhood years. And that was utterly confusing, and I
Mm.
just found the world a weird place. And it didn't, I mean, I understood, I think no, I understood the concept of choosing your reality, but it was so small because it was so much for me to take in. Then when I got a role presented, I actually started blossoming. I started shining, and that's what I've noticed where people make playing a role so wrong. It's
Mm.
actually just another choice to be something, because we're infinite beings. And what does an infinite being mean? Yeah, you can choose everything, you can create everything. And when we think that we cannot, that's where I
Mm.
started realizing this is not, when I think that I cannot do anything, I am literally not being me, because it might not be there, like, how do you say that, like actualized or like come to life
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
But then,
Yeah.
it's as a child, for me, it was about the wonder. It was about,
Oh.
I didn't have words. I didn't have the word possibility, but I was
No.
attracted to all these things that were bright, light, and shiny, and that inspired me to be something. Now
Mm.
I know that I am aware of my surroundings. Like, almost all thoughts think I think are not even mine. And that might sound like a really simple concept, but I started living like this. And then I noticed the creative potency of choosing my reality and choosing what I can be for people. And then I started noticing where I was totally limiting myself by not pulling out um, some more other things and possibilities, like a wig, a couple of heels, because there is so much to me as well, that is what people would say feminine.
Yeah.
Like, I think I only defined myself as gay because I so got asked the question, hey, what are you? Are you straight?
Yeah.
Are you gay? And I was like, do I have to choose? So I went with the one that felt that I fitted most. And
Yeah.
looking back now, it's like, was that even true or real? Would have not created a
Mm.
totally different life if I wouldn't have kind of like presented the, what are you, this one or this one?
Mm.
Where are you
Mm.
going to limit yourself,
Mm.
and how are you going to limit yourself? And that box has started, kind of like just just kind of like, eradicating itself. I still have like a slight preference for men, for male bodies, but that is become very fluid too. And I love, the possibilities we have as people. And
Yeah.
that's even beyond like what the gender
Oh, I
norms
know
are.
that you enjoy breasts and everything. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to say.
No, yes,
I caught him!
I love bodies. I love bodies.
I do know.
I
I
love
know.
bodies,
I'm just. Yeah, I do.
and I love
And this
breasts.
is what I love.
Yeah, I love
I do.
breasts.
I know you do.
Not
But
only breasts.
this is one of And who doesn't? I was like, I enjoyed it too. And I had, oh my God, I laughed at myself once. I remember Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Conscious, he absolutely enjoys breast, and especially when he sees cleavage in front of him in classes. And he says it out loud.
Yeah.
And I remember when I started Access, I was like, I had a little bit of a reaction there, and I'm like, yeah, he's a man kind of thing. And Lisen had to get that in her face later.
Yeah.
You change things, you let go of points of views,
Yeah.
and the resistance. Oh, I like men, so I don't receive from women. The same topic, just the opposite.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting facilitating a foundation class, and in the first row, the women are there with cleavage, and I was like, oh my God, this is delicious. And I was like, the moment you're like, oh my God, this is a lot, and it confused me because it was so delicious. I was like, oh God, I feel like Gary. I was like, oh, it works in women too, by the way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But this topic is amazing when the boxes get blurry or change, or yes, we often get to define us in a box. If I like men, if I like women, if I buy, like everything. And I have a lot of gay friends. I grew up around a lot of gay people, especially men, a little bit women. In the art world, there's quite a lot. This is where, my parents were antique dealers when I was young, and I don't know. My parents didn't have any point of view or judgment about that. We have quite a lot around. I remember the gay couple that in Argentina, the guys that I basically grew up with them. We knew each other for years. For me, it was totally normal. There were two guys. I never thought it was weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that was just normal. And they had my favorite dog. So I was like, but
favorite dog. This is like the thing that's like the like more obvious about it than just being two men being together. I love it.
But so can we go a little bit more into this topic, because I think it's very interesting. I mean, gay people also define themselves in the box as well, and some can be very, very
rigid,
like in the hold on yes. I mean, I don't go around and think that I'm straight, but not very often, at least. But I am, and I can see where I had more judgments or definitions because it just was there, like and then of course working through those things, also willing to receive from everything. A lot of things changed. But how do you see that? Have you seen that differently? And I mean, you have a different perspective on that. I've seen you change incredibly in that area, and not having them. So I was like, wow, that's really cool.
First, I when I got aware that I was that we were all functioning from a definition or a box to actually kind of like to be relatable for others, or to kind of like have some sort of acknowledgement of your own choice. Because that's kind of like the two things, us in relationship to this reality and to other people, and the acknowledgement of what we are choosing, and whether that is a preference or whether that is like kind of like in the infinite scope of possibilities. Because a lot of people are like they just kind of like, they're so open to choose and receive, and then we get learned to kind of like define ourselves. And usually like kind of like in our when we're kids or teens and stuff, we go maybe even explore what are all the definitions, so but when I started to become aware that being gay was actually a limitation of me, and that I sensed it, and I totally like knew that in every cell of my being. It was like, oh, I don't need to live that reality anymore, because I've been looking at what do gay people do, and what does that mean, and how do you behave. But then again, I knew there are so many people that kind of like the whole thing basically comes down to the being is different than the body. So that the being has all choices, and your body is either one or the other. So only for me, that kind of like taking that apart, even though it's a co-creation of me and my body, was super liberating, because I know it's like, oh wait, I have a male body, so that's how people see me, and for that they will base my choices, or they will judge my choices based upon what that is for them. So that whole weird game of what that is. Then when I started like kind of like going, like, working with more access tools, asking more questions. I kind of like shoved that whole gay box aside for a little bit. And which was as well kind of like exploring what else is possible. Then, a couple of years ago, I think like 2 years, I started noticing that, I wanted to engage more with everything that gay reality has to offer. So I started going out more. I started adding drag. I started adding all this other colorfulness, because that's like what a lot of like what is present in that scene or in that culture, even though it's got infinite colors. Maybe that's why it's got the rainbow. And what I've noticed as well, people try to still like, to be different, or in order to be themselves, needing a sort of definition. And I work with a group of teens or younger people that from all sorts of gender definitions, because there are so many right now. There's a word for every sort of characteristics. But then the thing is, what I noticed with them, they were incredibly defensive of how they wanted to be talked to. There was such a closure in their world to have their own reality. And that's where it hurted with me a little bit. It's like, ouch, wow. I mean, I see you're kind of like happy in some space, but are you aware how much you're actually kind of like limiting yourself and your body with it? Because their bodies were not free at all for most of them. Or they were like kind of like forced into movement or into something. This is not to make this wrong. This was for what is for what was occurring. So then now I'm literally in this space. Is like, if I am undefined, if I'm just space, a breath of air, what definitions can I play with by choice? And like,
how would you contribute to a person like a teen? Let's say a teen. This is the tough part, when they are defining themselves and they are protecting that definition to have a sort of reality. And I think everybody of us can at some point relate to this, because it's where you are exploring yourself. And you get to know you think you get to know you, and in some sense you might, and then again the reaction and protection and defenses is not you. It's again something we learn. And I know how much I've reacted to things. I'm like, wow, I learned reaction very well. So how would you contribute to a teen, and you work with some of them in that way, because they're, especially when they have something that's a bit different as well?
First, what is always present is mostly first the negative judgment about not belonging or needing some sort of acknowledgement for what they are. But then as well the positive judgment that is the right thing to be, and all the other things are kind of like wrong. It's kind of like this weird judgmental world. So I asked some questions about that. It's like, what if you don't have to judge in order to choose what you enjoy, and do you enjoy being this? Because so often they are just kind of like living what their girlfriends are doing, or living what they see on TV, or what they see on RuPaul's Drag Race, or what they see on whatever, in whatever world. So and it's usually very easy, because when I talk to them, it's like, how does it feel? Does it feel that it gives you freedom, or does it feel that it's limiting you? Does it empower you? And people say teenagers don't understand these language. Well, let me tell you, they do. If you give them like just kind of like, just call it as it is. Judgment is a judgment, positive and negative. They are so fast. But they have to be willing to change it. And usually when so that's where I start. It's like, hey, so you want to have a look at this? Is this actually bothering you? Or have your parents decided that it's bothering you? So I first give him total choice of, hey, do you want to look at, is this even like an issue for you? Because so often it's a reaction to their parents or to society. And when kind of like you give them the permission to, weirdly enough, but it's really their own choice, but that's what we do as a facilitator. You as well give someone, weirdly enough, permission to choose something, even though they don't actually really need it. or you kind of like, it's more an empowerment. So that's what I've done with a lot of teens, and just give them the question, who does this belong to? Ask it for 3 days, and a lot of them get so entirely clear, and sometimes they get confused because of like, but then what am I? So then what would you like to be? And as well, for them to know that people are going to be judgmental, and that is not wrong either. People are just going to be judgmental, in the right way or in the wrong way. So so if that's what it is, do you have to like do anything with it? And then sometimes they notice like, I actually do want to change it. So so then it's like, is it even up to you to change it if they are choosing their reality? Because so many kids are just such great healers, so to say. They kind of like they just suck all those ideas inside to start acting based on it. So it's mostly a combination of these sort of things that actually set them on a totally different journey. And I'm so grateful to, actually, when I do not hear a lot from them, and sometimes I do check in, and mostly they have kind of just changed and forgotten about that history. And it's always a joy to see, because I know they are going to go into the future and be that. They're gonna like be that possibility for the people who they run into. They might buy into judgment every once in a while, or might think they are wrong. I mean, we all do that sometimes, but the more
of course,
the more we go through life, the more we might acknowledge that faster, and have our bars run. That's always a gift for the people that don't know
Access
it.
bars, people.
For the people that don't know it, if you want to like some space in your head and in your life, get your bars run. It will just give you more room to choose, and kind of like just getting out of this unclarity and this kind of like all these weird feelings in your head. So it's mostly a conversation about judgment and just choosing beyond it, and acknowledging that they are aware of judgment, and that they don't have to choose it if they don't want to, and they can actually even use that. But it's about the possibility, not about the judgment. So it's and when they start playing, they might have another question, they might have another, because that's the nice thing when they go into the world, when they go out, when they go to school, when they go and run into these situations, then actually the magic occurs, because then they start choosing. And that's where they acknowledge whatever's going on, and they make a choose not to judge, for instance, themselves or the other people. And a lot of them get back to me, it's like, oh, this is so much easier than I thought. I can just receive not only the positive, but I can receive the negative too, and it doesn't mean anything. I'm like, wow, all right, that is going into our future. That is gonna like walk on the face of the planet. And that's why I actually, can I add one more thing to this about kids?
Oh, you can add. Yes, please.
But I when I was like playing with the idea of adding drag to my business, because it was a bit of a, I would like to, human words, I would say gamble, but I knew I had to follow the energy, because it was so.
It could go either way with that.
It was so expensive, but I know I have my own back. So if I choose, the universe first will rise up to meet me, and I will know what to choose next. I can't predict what's going to happen. But I knew that I had to do something with this. And then when I made my first outings, like in a couple of weeks, I got feedbacks from so many moms and dads that had their kid light up by the sight of me doing a video of me in drag. And especially the boys that are not what we would define straight boys, and actually having a hard time with it, and notice all the judgments and their projections of them not being a proper boy and living up to it. And that it was actually highly empowering for them, that I, Merlijn Wolsink, one of the, I don't know, apparently people say all sorts of things, that I was actually choosing this and choosing to be different in this way. It just opened up their world, and that kind of like made my heart melt, and
What a gift.
it empowered my dedication to just doing that. I mean, see what it creates already. Like, so these are like 4, 5, 6, 7 year olds that are being confused at school at that age. What light can I bring that will not I said induce the trauma and the weirdness that I went through when I went to school, because it's been messy, and I've been clearing up a thing or two, in the last couple of years as well, diving into all of this, engaging with these energies, not only as me as well as a facilitator, because I gotta be everything as a facilitator. I gotta like be able to facilitate everything, good, bad, ugly, and beautiful.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. So, and I say that's a gift to the world, and this is where I see when you're choosing something, it contributes so much, but we will not know before we choose it. Like, we will maybe also not know it exactly afterwards either. Yeah. But funny enough, I've seen so many times when you choose something that you follow the energy, you're going there. It might be very uncomfortable. It might be so awkward choosing it, but the gift it is, it's incredible. I see it everywhere. Yeah. I'm like, wow, when you choose and change something, the world around you also, it's almost like thank you, but they might not tell you. Yeah. But they get inspired. They choose more. They do something. They look at themselves, and some will judge you because it's too annoying or it's too uncomfortable for them choosing that you're choosing so much. But I also have seen a lot of women appreciate a lot what you're choosing.
It's incredible. I am beyond words. I had no idea this was going to be such a contribution to the women, especially. As it is to some men as well. But the women, I've been working more with women on all their feminine qualities, because a lot of them have judged that tremendously, or they were kind of like maybe too sexy for a lot of people at some age, and noticed that people wanted more.
I toned down so much.
Yeah.
I so remember the first year in Germany. Everything was cut off. Like everything was also, I was made wrong for moving my hips.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, and if you don't know that is just an awareness, or you buy into it and it just stays in your world, it actually shapes your body. So moving and working with the ladies, whether that is in heels, or whether that is standing, or whether that is presenting or demanding a certain space, a certain energy, it's so awesome where what I used to call theater is really kind of like, playing with all energies embodied while you're actually having a body and going through the world, going to work, going to wherever you're going, engaging with whatever you're engaging. And it's as well kind of like, for me, it's so, because so often we think it's about when we choose our reality, like, something we talk about, right? That is about us only, but it's totally not about us, because I thought I did drag just for me. Well, it always had this weird twist to it. What I notice now, that when I turn out as a drag queen, it reaches so much further and wider. It changes so much with people, but I know that when they get uncomfortable, or when it's silent, when people don't dare to react, I know something's changing. And that is, now I get to like be excited about the silence and about the judgments, because it's all coming up to change, or it is people are actually looking at it for themselves, they're wondering, they're in the question, they're not sure. But it's actually a great thing to be not sure, because there's so much that is possible, and people know it.
Yeah.
So when I show up and I change people's worlds by kind of like just showing up in my pink wig, in my red gown, or whatever, or my long legs, I mean, it confuses people. They are like, fuck you, and those legs and that makeup and that hair. Yeah, it confuses people. And I actually kind of like, I refuse to go into any sort of judgment about it. I just kind of like go, haha, something's changing. This is gonna go into the future. Not because I wanna like I just know that they might have chosen to ask for something, that it will always contribute something. And I really hope
So
to, create
I've
more
seen a
space
bit
with
of
it.
drag things in my life, and I've seen them, people or transformations showing up very different. Like I see a lot of them having a lot of fun with it, like a lot, and I love that. And I've seen, an action too, and I was like, I absolutely love it. And then I see some people choosing it to prove a point,
Yeah, yeah,
to prove
yeah,
something. That energy has been very different seeing that.
yeah,
And of course I might have been also in a very different well, it's a different life. I was going to say it's
yeah,
3 lifetimes ago, but
yeah,
it's different as well, my point of view as well. But what I see is like when you show up, you don't tone it down. You sometimes even amp it up, but just because it's fun, and you enjoy every second. And I can guarantee you bring up a lot of points of views, hidden points of views, and things people bring with them,
it's
judging from
big.
their parents. Like it's just, it brings up stuff, and then it's up to me looking like, what do I do with this? Do I change it? Would I go, or do I enjoy it? And I can say I'm very grateful because I really enjoy most of it. It's very few times that something shows up in my world, but when it does, I was like, thank you.
Yeah,
That is awesome. And that's where, if you're around in the world and you see something showing up and you react to it, it's the best moment of your life, basically, if you don't get into the reaction and defend it and like, yes, of course, in your mind
yeah,
or with somebody else, because that's even the one we do often. So we become more right because when we're two, we have a better way of defending it. But what if you really looked at that?
yeah, yeah,
But what if we did look at that every time it showed up and say, hey, because if I don't have judgments, how would the world look like?
yeah, yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome. What I actually, it's weird because I enjoy bringing up the judgments even more now than I ever did before because I just know what is real. I was making
Yeah.
myself more real as me than I am as Merlot or whatever that is. It might evolve. That as well might change. Who knows? I gave it a name with, my friend Crystal Putira actually gave
Yeah.
gave Magic Merlot's name because I didn't want to define it, but now I notice that it's starting a conversation. So we're using that
Yeah.
that name, and it's kind of like, I mean, it's how does it get even
Someone will
better?
put a name on it anyway, so why not choose something that's fun for
I
you?
know, right? Like Magic Merlot. How does it get better than that? And I just noticed kind of like all the serious melt out of my world, and we can still discuss everything that is supposedly serious or life threatening. I I get to facilitate more intense conversations now because people are actually willing to bring them up in class. I had to talk to Yancy's
Oh,
class last
nice.
weekend where I facilitated one day as Merlot, and there was some deep down dark stuff that was coming up in class. And because of the actually just kind of like the choice for transformation, there
Mm-hmm.
was not a lot of floor of ground for it to stick, and it could simply just clear and change. And I was like, well,
Mm.
that was easy. how how does it get even easier? Because me as Merlijn would have probably maybe before gone into kind of like serious facilitating the seriousness about it. This is just kind of like I asked for more joy and more quicker change with not only for me but as well the
No.
people that I get to
Probably,
work with.
yeah.
I was like, wow, what a gift. And what else is possible? And how does it get better? Those simple darn access questions is, people maybe cannot hear them anymore, but these are, the questions we can live when we go through our lives. And yeah, how does it get better? Change, Miss Lisen. Miss Lisen, how we're doing on the sunlight. There we go. I'm just going to do this for a
I
little bit.
like the sunlight in your background. Here it's already dark,
It's pretty.
but
Look
you
at this.
still have sun. Oh,
Wait,
that's
wait. There's,
beautiful.
it's got like pink stripes and stuff, but it doesn't
Oh,
really
I didn't
show.
see
Yeah, I
them.
know. The
No.
zoom didn't work. The zoom didn't work.
I think you're just taking it all in. You're pinky.
I'm just soaking.
Yeah, I'm so I'm so funny because last week I was talking, or Sunday I think I was talking to Helen, and she has pink hair, and then I was like, oh, and I met Merlijn, he has pink too. Like, am I doing a pink series?
I know. We even have pictures together. Pinky and Pinky.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I saw it. It was really beautiful. Oh, I love it. I like it.
Something to ask, to dedicate more, to commit even more to, as well, for this business to grow, because it's a totally different energy, which is kind of like a separate thing on its own, but as well contributing to, what used to be or what still is, my Dutch and international access business. So it's really exciting. And, like in honoring ourselves with putting away 10%, of what we, earn or what comes into our lives and business. So I thought I'd just
Do you want
kind
to
of like
share
honor.
with us? I love 10%. It's one of my dearest friends and
This
changed
is one
my
of my
whole life.
10% as well.
So for people that don't know about 10% or know it and avoid it.
Yeah, I know. Totally. So many people avoid it. You got to commit if you want to choose it.
Oh, I love it. I that's one of the first thing I really chose in Access, because I was so fucked up with money. At least I had the point of view, and I was creating that I had a very little money in my life. And when I heard Gary saying that, put away 10% of everything that comes into your life, and don't touch it, and don't spend it, don't do anything with it, allow it to grow, allow it to start to contribute to you. I was like, I don't really have 10% extra. And he just says, in that moment, he says loud, yes, you either say you don't have it or can't make it too much, and you continue your life as it is, or even worse, or you just choose it and give everything, and you'll see you create more the first month already. If you could 100% commit, it will not be comfortable. It will maybe not even be easy the first 2 months or something like that, but you're freaking going to change your life. If you do it for a year, your money situation will totally change. I'm like, okay. And I've done it for 10 years.
Yeah. I think they've changed. I love that you're actually, that you have some goodies as well. Like, for how long have you had Lisen's jewelry box?
Jewelry box, at least 4 years now. 4
Yeah.
or 4.5 now. I mean, it's something I have to really check now, because it's like, oh, wait a second. I wouldn't know if I look at the bookkeeping of it.
No, I think you started in
It's at least
2014.
4. It could be. Yeah, then it would be my 5th year now in the summer. Now, somewhere around this, I remember I was on a call with Stephen Chitisa Bowman, and they said something about what you really love doing. It's fun for you. It's easy. You don't think you can make money, and you're basically avoiding. I was like, and I heard myself the same, even like, oh, but jewelry is so easy. But anybody can do that. I'm like, no, not everybody can do that. And the next day I started buying. Next day okay, let's change this. Let's do it. And I love jewelry. Oh,
Yeah.
I melt every time. I'm like, oh God, I love you. I love them. They're like babies, and then they fly around the world to other people. I'm like, oh, have fun. Create a lot with them.
I know. I mean, I was already playing with pearls. Ooh, I was already playing with pearls. That was actually my first, big investment. A string of 10,000 euros. I think black pearls, Tahitian black pearls. I still have them. I don't wear them a lot, but with my first present as Merlot, I wore them.
Oh.
She's not cheap.
No, she's not. That's very good.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, so much change.
And I can say with the 10%, if I did 10% for my business, in my business, and 10% private, and I can say the moment I chose the jewelry, I would not have had so much ease if I hadn't had the 10% to start investing in my business. And I also started paying, like, I had that as a money, and then and now I call them also creation, because I have creation money too, and my 10%, so I can go out and create anything, and I'm totally okay using that money, so I don't always use my 10%. But investing in things, I was like, wow, when I look at these 10 years doing it, I was like, I'm so grateful, because I've been able to contribute to things I wanted to choose. I've always had a bank, so I've loaned myself money and paid it back.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such a kindness to do that. And what a change. I'm so in awe what money creates, and letting go of the judgments of it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
It's beautiful. I just had to recognize, like, because I've been, of course, threading like the whole area of costumes and investing and creating with people and with designers and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And I am used to such a different, so different possibilities now as I was when I was, still in theater or dancing
Yeah.
or and because there's a lot of, like, yeah, different points of view about money. Let's put it like that for this live stream, and I really had to kind of like um, be willing to receive. Wow, I have a different reality with money, where just so much more is possible. So I'm having so much enjoy contributing to these people and working to these people as well, in just kind of like paying their full bill without making a hassle out of it. They are so grateful. It's like,
Wow.
that's actually one of the things that, it's like when you're willing to have money, that 10%, it started it for me. Willing to
Mm.
have money, so
Yeah.
actually we can become more, but as well create a different future. Because, it's like, what would it take to kind of like be empowered? That's where a lot of, people in the drag world as well kind of like, have no sense of what that is and what they actually contribute to people by doing a performance,
Mm. Yeah.
and I follow the energy, I do free stuff, I do paid stuff, and I'm not even depending on it or relying on it, and still being a money making drag queen, doing my
Love
programs in
it.
drag. It's such a weird thing. What do we know to do with all the tools we have available, and how can we actually use them to create a change and for it to create a different future? Yeah, I'm super excited. Super
Thank
excited.
you.
I'm sure we will have like another conversation in a couple of years, and we'll have a
Yes.
totally different conversation.
Oh my God, definitely we'll do that in a couple of years and see what have you created since 2019. Oh my
I know, right? We'll have like 3
God.
pictures in a row. I actually had to look for the pictures because I had like a hard drive erase. So I scrolled through Facebook and actually
Oh
I
my
was able
God,
to
you thought,
retrieve this one.
oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. I was like, I was impressed. I was like,
I know
I might have
that's
also
actually
gone
why
through
it took a
Facebook.
while. And that's actually why it took a while, because I was looking. I knew I wanted to put a picture of, like kind of like, but like before and now. So, well, there we
I
are.
totally get that. Now we have that, so now we'll see how amazing we look in 5 years.
Yeah. What will we have
Let's
created?
ooh. Let's see if we're blonde talking to each other. We don't know and where we will be, and
I
I
know.
have
I'm
no
getting some
idea.
new wigs delivered next week. And they're
Oh
both
my
blonde.
God. Oh, they are?
Yes, they are. Yes, they're bombshell blonde. I'm gonna go old Hollywood glam, honey. You'll see more soon.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I hope to see more shows of you very soon. I am privileged to at least see some of them, or not really, but some of it, and I'll keep on following you. I'll be one of your greatest fans.
Oh, thank you, honey. Likewise, I'm thrilled. Thank you so much for having me on and for asking me to talk about change. Um it's such an honor to kind of like as well look back and know what all those choices have,
Yeah.
led up to, and um, you know, um, yeah, we're just so grateful. I'm a little beyond words at times. I'm like, wow, there's just not enough words
It's a
to
lot.
describe. But anyway,
I know.
we do the best we can.
We can, and it's just I don't even know if it's an hour or whatever we're talking here. But I got this a couple weeks ago and a couple months ago, and it's like I want to have normal conversations with people that have created a lot of change. And I know access conscious for some people weird that don't know it. For people that have done it, it's well, it becomes normal. But it's like it's part of my life as a normal thing. I don't think about it in the way I did in the beginning. So it's just things I do, things I talk about, things I change. It's part of me and my dog and my horse and all that. And everybody around it gets to know me. This is me, not, oh, this is Lisa when she's facilitating. This is Lisa when she does that. No, those are, I play with them, but they will still be Lisa showing up. And and I've seen so many people changing their lives and creating amazing stuff like you. And I just want to have different conversations with different people, because if we get it, like, it's almost like invite people to hear different things, and we're all, I know some people just need a reminder or an inspiration or something.
We all need reminders.
Yes.
I love reminders, and especially love to hear them from different people.
Yeah.
Everyone adds their own brilliance and their own beauty and
Yes.
their own life
Yes.
experience. You know, like we make our stories like irrelevant because we don't want to buy into it, but they can be of great value when the charges actually come off and you learn a thing or two by choosing,
Yes.
and just acknowledging.
I have a
And
really great friend. Sorry, I have a really great friend that comes and gives me off in bars, and she's extremely aware. Like, she has Asperger, ADHD thingy, so there's no filter. And she's learned throughout the years to really cope with this world in an amazing, brilliant way. Now she's a team leader in a big supermarket chain, and like, I'm like amazed about her leadership as well.
yeah,
But then sometimes she takes in so much information at once, so she's like, feels she's fucked up. Like, she says, I'm fucked up in my head. I'm like, and then I'm like, hey, have you asked the question when that shows up if it's even yours? And she's looking like, no, but I'm fucked up. Yeah, I'm aware that it feels like it's you because you have the whole going on in your world. But what if part of that is just like when it shows up, you have all this information, and that's also from them. And I was just explaining, how does this question work again? She knows it. And who does it belong to? And I asked her, hey, would you be willing to ask that a little bit more often? And she's like, yes. And she started doing it. And it's incredible what space it created. But one of the beautiful things when she started using it more, she was talking to somebody, a mom. Well, she's becoming mom in 2 weeks or in a week or two. And my friend has a kid. And this person wanted to get her bars after she gave birth and all that. And then she's like, I feel so scared and da da da. And she then asked, hey, have you asked the question, who does it belong to, if it's yours even? And she started asking, she's like, oh, and then she was at the doctor and it's like, oh no, it's not mine. And then her whole, like, her body's got so relaxed. And I'm like, oh, and I told my friend, hey, you can work with so many moms and kids. Yeah, I know, I talked to Mike. And she really talks with her kid in the most amazing energy wise and also direct. And she's getting 2. And I was like, wow, they have a communication that is like, boom. And I was like, you would be a gift going out in the world, but also by her activating question and then bringing it out in the world. I'm like, this is what happens when we start using them in our daily lives. It's like spreads everywhere and it helps people in the weirdest moments. And I was like, it was such a gift to hear that. I was like, oh. And I remember another friend giving birth like too early, like 2 or 3 months, or like very early. And she was in the hospital, and in the ICU, when one baby cries, all of them start crying, kind of thing. And and hers was the last one to start. And she was holding it, and she looks at her kid and like, hey, are you sure? Is that really yours? And the kid like, and start crying. And I was like, she just popped out of the belly and know the tools.
Oh wow, shablam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this world is so different if we choose it as well. And I have so many stories. We'll definitely have more conversation, Merlijn. Or maybe I'll invite Magic Merlot.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Magic Merlot would like to come on for to talk about a thing or two.
I'm gonna have a definitely interesting conversation about. We'll talk about Merlijn too then.
Okay, cool. I'll be fine. I mean, she knows what to say. She knows what to say.
I am definitely gonna invite her. I am gonna invite her. That's gonna be a fun conversation. Ooh la la! I'm gonna ask her
Ooh la
about things.
la! Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Mwah!
Well,
I adore you, Merlijn. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for being in my life.
Thank you so much for starting this whole thing. Thank you for being in my life for everything and what else is possible.
Merci beaucoup.
And thank you everyone for watching.
Yes, thank you everybody. I'm getting teary.